Life has a funny way of kicking you when you're down. My name is Ava Sterling. 10 years ago, I was the prom queen of Westview High. I had the perfect boyfriend, the perfect grades, and a scholarship to Yale. The world was my oyster. Today, I am 28 years old, recently fired from my job as an art gallery assistant, and currently eating cereal for dinner in a shoebox apartment that smells like my neighbor's cat. Ding! My phone lit up. An email. Subject Westview High, 10-year reunion. You are cordially invited. I groaned, dropping my spoon. A reunion. The ultimate torture chamber for failed, most likely to succeed alumni like me. I was about to delete it when my phone rang. It was Chloe, my high school best friend. Or rather, frenemy. Ava, she squealed. Did you get the invite? You have to come? Everyone is asking about you. They all think you're some big shot curator in Paris. Well, I stammered. I hadn't told anyone I was fired, or that I never went to Paris. And bring your fiancé, Chloe continued. I heard he's a French model, Pierre. Is that his name? I froze. I had invented Pierre 3 years ago to get Chloe off my back. Pierre is busy, I lied. Nonsense. Bring him. Unless he doesn't exist. Her voice dripped with suspicion. Of course he exists. I snapped, my pride taking the wheel. We'll be there. I hung up and buried my face in my hands. I had 2 weeks to find a dress, a job, and a fake French fiancé. 2 days later, I was at a coffee shop scrolling through a rent-a-date website. It was pathetic. Most of the guys looked like serial killers or used car salesmen. Excuse me. A deep voice interrupted my despair. I looked up. Standing by my table was a man. He was breathtaking. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a bespoke navy suit that screamed money. He had dark hair, sharp cheekbones, and eyes the color of polished jade. Is this seat taken? He asked. No, I mumbled, closing my laptop. He sat down. He stared at me with an intensity that made me squirm. You don't remember me, do you, Ava? I blinked. I'm sorry, Anna. Noah, he said. Noah Blackwood. My jaw dropped. Noah Blackwood. The scrawny, stuttering kid from AP Chemistry. The boy who wore glasses too big for his face. The boy who had asked me to prom senior year, and I had said no. Cruelly. I remembered laughing with my friends. Noah, the nerd, ew. And now, this was Noah, I whispered. You look different. Contact lenses, gym, and a few $1 billion. He smirked. It wasn't a nice smirk. It was cold. Billions, tech startup. He shrugged. I sold it last year. Wow, congratulations. I heard you on the phone, he said, nodding at my device. You need a fiancé, a fake one. My face burned. You were eavesdropping. I was observing, old habits. He leaned forward. I have a proposition. What? I'll be your Pierre, he said. I'll go to the reunion with you. I'll pretend to be madly in love with you. I'll make every woman there jealous. Why? I asked suspiciously. Why would you do that? Because I'm going too, he said. And I need a date, but not just any date. I need the prom queen on my arm. I want to show everyone that the nerd won the girl. So, it's an ego trip. Call it closure, he corrected. 10 years ago, you broke my heart, Ava. You humiliated me in front of the whole school. Now I want to use you to boost my image. Fair trade. It was transactional, cold. But looking at him, this Greek god in a suit, I knew he was my only hope. Do you speak French? I asked weakly. Noah leaned in, his eyes dancing with amusement. Bien sûr, ma chérie. Je ferai tout ce que tu veux. Of course, my darling. I will do whatever you want. His accent was perfect. His voice was like melted chocolate. I swallowed hard. Okay, I said. Deal. Good. Noah stood up, buttoning his jacket. Pick you up tomorrow at 7. We need to shop. You can't wear that. He gestured to my old sweater. He walked away, leaving me breathless and terrified. I had just made a deal with the boy I bullied, and now he held all the cards. The shopping trip. Noah didn't take me to a mall. He took me to a private showroom in Soho. Choose whatever you want, he said, sitting on a velvet sofa sipping espresso. But make it expensive. My fiancé doesn't wear polyester. I pulled out a dress. Emerald green silk, backless. Try it on, he commanded. I stepped out of the dressing room. The dress fit like a second skin. Noah stopped drinking his coffee. His eyes raked over me, starting from my heels and traveling up to my eyes. The air in the room grew heavy. Turn around, he said, his voice dropping an octave. I turned. The back of the dress dipped low, exposing my spine. I heard him stand up. He walked over to me. I could feel his heat behind me. Your hair, he murmured. He reached out. His fingers grazed my neck as he lifted my hair. His touch was electric. You should wear it up, he whispered against my ear. Show off your neck. I shivered. Noah. It's part of the act, Ava, he said, his breath warm on my skin. We have to look convincing. I have to look like I can't keep my hands off you. He placed his hands on my bare waist. His thumbs rubbed circles on my skin. It felt possessive. Can you handle it? He asked. I turned to face him. We were inches apart. I can handle it. I lied. My heart was racing so fast I thought he could hear it. Good, he said. But he didn't let go. His gaze dropped to my lips. For a second I thought he was going to kiss me. Then he stepped back, the mask of indifference sliding back into place. We'll take the dress, he told the assistant, and the shoes, and the lingerie. Lingerie, I squeaked. Details matter, Ava, he winked. Pierre would buy you lingerie. The night of the reunion arrived with the subtlety of a hurricane. Noah picked me up in a sleek black Aston Martin that cost more than my entire apartment building. He stepped out of the car looking devastating in a tuxedo. He didn't just look rich, he looked like royalty. Ready, chérie? He asked, opening the door for me. I took a deep breath, clutching my emerald clutch. Ready as I'll ever be. The drive to the hotel was silent, but the air inside the car crackled with tension. Noah's hand rested on the gear shift inches from my knee. Every time he shifted, his knuckles brushed the silk of my dress, sending shivers up my thigh. We arrived. The ballroom was draped in gold and silver banners. Westview High Class of 2014. As we walked in, heads turned. Conversations stopped. The music seemed to fade. Noah didn't just walk. He prowled. He kept me tucked firmly against his side, his arm possessive around my waist. He leaned down and whispered in my ear, "Showtime, Ava. Smile like you're the luckiest woman alive." I smiled. It was my best performance yet. Ava! A shrill voice pierced the air. Chloe came rushing towards us. She was wearing a pink sequined dress that was far too tight. Her eyes widened when she saw Noah. "Oh my God," she gasped. "Is this?" "This is Pierre," I said smoothly. "Noah," he corrected, extending a hand. "Noah Blackwood. But Ava calls me Pierre when she's happy." He winked. Chloe's jaw hit the floor. "Noah, the nerd, you look incredible." "Success suits me," Noah said coolly. "And so does Ava." He pulled me closer, pressing a kiss to my temple. It was tender, affectionate, and completely fake, but my heart fluttered anyway. "So," Chloe said, recovering quickly, her eyes narrowing with jealousy. "What do you do, Noah, besides look good?" "I run a tech conglomerate," he said casually. "We specialize in AI, just sold a subsidiary to Google for a few billion." The word billion hung in the air. People began to gather around us. The nerds who used to ignore him were now hanging on his every word. The mean girls who used to mock him were eyeing him like a piece of meat. But Noah only had eyes for me. "Would you like a drink, love?" he asked me. "Champagne, please." He walked to the bar. I was instantly surrounded by my old classmates. "Ava, you're so lucky. He's gorgeous. Is he good in bed?" I blushed. "He's perfect." But I saw the way Chloe was watching him. She wasn't just jealous, she was calculating. Chloe had always wanted what I had. In high school it was the prom crown. Now it was Noah. Later the DJ played a slow song. Unchained melody. "Dance with me," Noah said, appearing at my side. He didn't ask, he commanded. He led me to the floor. He pulled me flush against him. His hand was warm on the bare skin of my back. "You're doing well," he murmured against my hair. "They're buying it." "You're enjoying this," I whispered back. "Being the center of attention." "I'm enjoying holding you," he corrected. I looked up at him. His green eyes were dark, unreadable. "Noah," I said softly. About high school. I'm sorry. For saying no to prom. For laughing. He stiffened. The hand on my back tightened. You didn't just say no, Ava. You said I wouldn't be caught dead with a loser like you. Loudly. In the cafeteria. I winced. I was stupid. I was a kid. Words have power, he said. They stick. I spent 10 years building an empire just to prove you wrong. To prove I wasn't a loser. You succeeded, I said. You won. Did I? He spun me around. The movement was graceful, dizzying. I have the money, he said. I have the power, but do I have the girl? He looked at me with such intensity that the rest of the room faded away. You have me tonight, I whispered. I want more than tonight, he said. The mask slipped for a second, revealing a raw hunger that terrified me. Before I could respond, a hand tapped Noah's shoulder. Cut in. It was Brad, the football captain, my ex-boyfriend, the one who cheated on me and broke my heart. He looked older, heavier, but still had that arrogant smile. Hey, Noah, Brad smirked. Long time no see. Didn't know they let geeks in here. Noah released me slowly. He looked at Brad not with fear, but with boredom. Hello, Brad. Still wearing that varsity jacket? It's been 10 years. Time to move on. Brad flushed. Watch your mouth. I just want to dance with my girl. She's not your girl, Noah said calmly. She's mine. Is she? Brad laughed. Ava always comes back to me. Don't you, babe? He reached for my arm. Noah moved. It was a blur of motion. 1 second he was standing still, the next he had Brad's wrist in a grip of steel. He twisted it, forcing Brad to his knees with a cry of pain. The music stopped. The room went silent. Touch her again, Noah whispered, his voice carrying clearly in the quiet room. And I will buy the company you work for and fire you. Then I will buy your house and evict you. Do you understand? Brad nodded frantically. Yes, let go. Noah released him. He shoved him away like he was trash. He straightened his tuxedo jacket. He turned to me, offering his hand. Shall we go? He asked. I find the company here lacking. I took his hand. We walked out of the ballroom, heads held high, leaving a stunned silence in our wake. Outside in the cool night air, my legs gave way. Noah caught me. You okay? He asked, concern replacing the anger. You defended me, I breathed. Of course I did, he said, stroking my cheek. You're my fiancé. Fake or not, nobody disrespects you. He opened the car door. Let's go to my place. I think we both need a drink. We drove to his penthouse. It was a glass palace in the sky. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey. We stood by the window looking out at the city. Why did you really help me, Noah? I asked. It wasn't just for revenge, was it? He turned to me. He swirled the amber liquid in his glass. No, he admitted. It wasn't. He set the glass down. He walked towards me. He backed me up against the cold glass of the window. I helped you because I never stopped wanting you, Ava. Even when I hated you, I wanted you. He leaned in. His hands found my waist. His thumbs brushed the sensitive skin above my hips. And tonight, he whispered, his lips grazing mine, I'm tired of pretending. He kissed me. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was 10 years of pent-up frustration, anger, and desire. He kissed me like he wanted to devour me, like he wanted to erase every other man who had ever touched me. I kissed him back. I wrapped my arms around his neck, pulling him closer. I forgot about the lie. I forgot about the contract. All I knew was that the nerd had become a king, and I was ready to surrender. But as he lifted me up, carrying me towards the bedroom, my phone buzzed in my purse. I ignored it, but it buzzed again and again. Ignore it, Noah growled against my neck. It might be important, I gasped. He set me down on the edge of the bed. Check it, then turn it off. I grabbed my phone, 3 messages from Chloe. OMG, Ava. Noah is amazing. But guess what? I found something interesting. Did you know Noah bought the gallery you worked at? He's the one who fired you. The phone slipped from my hand. I looked up at Noah. He was unbuttoning his shirt, revealing a chest sculpted by years of discipline. He looked at me with burning desire. But now I saw something else in his eyes. Calculation. You fired me, I whispered. Noah froze. His hands stopped on the last button. What? The gallery, I said, standing up, backing away from the bed. You bought the gallery. You had me fired last week. He didn't deny it. He didn't look surprised. Ava, let me explain. Explain what? I shouted. That this was all a game. You got me fired so I would be desperate, so I would need you. I wanted to hire you, he argued, stepping forward. I was going to offer you a job at my foundation, curating art, a better job. By ruining my life first, I was trying to help you. You were trying to control me. I grabbed my purse. You haven't changed, Noah. You're still that insecure little boy who thinks he has to buy people to make them like him. His face hardened. The vulnerability vanished. And you're still the snob who thinks she's too good for me, he said coldly. I'm leaving, I said. Go ahead. He turned his back. But remember, Ava, you need me. Without me, you're nothing. I slammed the door on my way out. I cried all the way home in the taxi. I had fallen for the act. I had fallen for the lie. But the worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was the fact that for a few moments in his arms, I had felt more alive than I had in 10 years. And now I had to find a way to fix my life without the billionaire's help. Or maybe, find a way to make him pay for breaking my heart a second time. The week after the reunion was a blur of misery. I stayed in my apartment, ignoring Noah's calls. I ignored the flowers he sent, expensive bouquets of white lilies that filled my small living room with a funeral scent. I ignored the job offer email from the Blackwood Foundation offering me a senior curator position with a salary that made my eyes water. I wasn't going to be bought, not again. But pride doesn't pay the rent. And rent was due. I needed a job. Any job. I scoured the classifieds. Waitress, dog walker, anything that didn't involve art or billionaires. Finally, I landed an interview at a small boutique bookstore in Brooklyn. It was humble, quiet, and far away from Noah's glittering world. You're overqualified, the owner, a sweet old lady named Mrs. Gable, said, peering at my resume. But you look sad, and books are good for sad people. You're hired. I started the next day. Shelving books was therapeutic. The smell of old paper calmed my nerves. But I couldn't escape him. Noah was everywhere. He was on the cover of Forbes at the newsstand. He was on the TV in the break room talking about his new AI initiative. And he was in my head. I missed him. God help me, I missed him. I missed the way he looked at me like I was the only person in the room. I missed his touch. One rainy Tuesday, the bell above the bookstore door chimed. Welcome to... I started looking up. The words died in my throat. It wasn't Noah. It was Chloe. She looked out of place in the dusty shop wearing a trench coat that cost more than the entire inventory. Ava. She smiled, a predatory glint in her eyes. So this is where you're hiding. How... rustic. What do you want, Chloe? I asked, gripping the counter. I came to check on you, she said, browsing the self-help section. I heard about the breakup. Tragic, really. Everyone thought you two were the real deal. We were, I lied. We just wanted different things. Right, she scoffed. You wanted honesty, and he wanted control. She walked over to the counter, leaning in close. You know, she whispered. Noah was devastated when you left. He came to me for advice. My stomach dropped. He went to you. We're old friends, Ava. Remember? And he needed a shoulder to cry on. Poor thing. He really thought he could buy your love. She pulled out her phone. Look. She showed me a photo. It was taken at a bar. Noah was sitting with Chloe. His tie was loose, his head in his hands. Chloe's hand was on his back, comforting him. It looked intimate. It looked like he had moved on. He told me everything, Chloe purred. About the fake engagement, about how he fired you. He feels terrible, but he also feels relieved. Relieved. He realized he was chasing a ghost, she said. The high school prom queen. But you're not that girl anymore, Ava. You're just sad and unemployed. She put her phone away. He needs someone who understands his world. Someone who can stand beside him, not behind him. Like you, I spat. Why not? She shrugged. I'm successful. I'm available, and I don't hold grudges. She reached into her bag and pulled out an invitation. It was cream-colored, heavy cardstock. Noah is hosting a gala this Friday, she said, sliding it across the counter. For his foundation, he asked me to bring this to you. Why? He wants you to come, she said. As a friend. To show there are no hard feelings, he's going to make a big announcement about the curator position. I don't want the job. Then come to say goodbye, she challenged. Unless you're afraid. Afraid seeing him with someone else will break you. She left the invitation on the counter and walked out. I stared at the card. The Blackwood Gala. Black tie. I should tear it up. I should burn it. But the image of Noah with Chloe burned in my mind. Was he really moving on that fast? Was I just a trophy he tried to win and discarded when it got too hard? I grabbed the invitation. I wasn't going to let Chloe win. I wasn't going to let Noah think I was broken. I was going to that gala. And I was going to look fabulous. The Blackwood Gala. The gala was held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It was the event of the season. I wore the emerald dress Noah had bought me. It was a risk wearing his gift, but it was the only thing I had that fit the dress code. Besides, it was armor. I walked up the grand staircase alone. Cameras flashed. Inside, the Temple of Dender was transformed into a ballroom. Champagne orchids and billionaires. I scanned the crowd, and then I saw him. Noah stood in the center of the room, surrounded by donors. He looked tired. He looked thinner. But he was still the most magnetic man in the room. And standing right next to him, clinging to his arm like a parasite, was Chloe. She was wearing red. Of course. She whispered something in his ear and he nodded, though he didn't smile. My heart shattered all over again. Ava! I turned. It was Liam, a guy I knew from the art world. Liam, hi. You look stunning, he said. Are you here with the foundation? Just a guest. I smiled weakly. Well, save a dance for me. He winked. I watched Noah. He hadn't seen me yet. He looked miserable. Every time Chloe touched him, he flinched slightly. Maybe Chloe was lying. Maybe he didn't want her. I decided to be brave. I started to walk towards him. But then the music stopped. A spotlight hit the stage. Noah walked up to the microphone. Chloe followed him, standing just behind him, looking like the First Lady. Good evening, Noah said. His voice echoed through the vast hall. Thank you all for coming. Tonight is about the future of art, but it's also about the future of this company. He looked out at the crowd. His eyes scanned the room, searching. For a second, his gaze locked on mine. He froze. He saw me, in the green dress. His eyes widened. He took a step forward, almost knocking over the mic stand. Chloe noticed. She grabbed his arm, whispering something urgent. Noah looked at her, then back at me. His expression hardened. He turned back to the mic. I have an announcement, he said. I am stepping down as CEO of Blackwood Tech to focus on the foundation full-time, and by my side, helping me run it, he paused. Chloe beamed, stepping forward, ready to accept the title. Will be my new partner, Noah finished. Partner, Chloe whispered, confused. I am merging the foundation with the Vanderbilt Trust, Noah announced, and I am delighted to welcome Miss Chloe Vanderbilt as the co-director. Applause erupted. Chloe looked stunned, then delighted. She grabbed Noah's hand and raised it in victory. I felt sick. He had chosen her. Not as a girlfriend maybe, but as a partner. He had replaced me. I turned and ran. I ran through the crowd, ignoring Liam calling my name. I ran out the side exit into the cool night air of Central Park. I sat on a bench, tears streaming down my face. I was an idiot. I was a fool. Ava. The voice came from behind me. I didn't turn around. Go away. No. Noah walked around the bench and stood in front of me. He had left the party. He wasn't wearing his jacket. His tie was undone. Why did you run? He asked softly. Why did you invite me? I countered, standing up. To rub it in my face. Look at me. I'm successful. I have a new partner. I didn't invite you, he said. I blinked. What? I didn't send that invitation, Noah said. I didn't know you were coming. If I had known, I never would have made that announcement. Chloe gave it to me. She said you sent her. Chloe is a liar, Noah said, stepping closer. She orchestrated this whole thing. She wanted you to see us together. She wanted to hurt you. Well, it worked, I whispered. It wasn't real, Ava, he pleaded. The partnership, it's just business. Her father is a major donor. I had to do it to secure funding for the art program, the program I built for you. For me? Yes, he said. The curator position is still yours. It's always been yours. I bought the gallery to save it from bankruptcy, not to fire you. The manager fired you because he was cutting costs before the sale. I found out too late. He reached out and took my hands. His were warm. I messed up, Ava. I tried to control everything because I was terrified of losing you again. I thought if I gave you a job, a purpose, you'd stay. But I just pushed you away. You lied to me, I said, my voice trembling. I know. And I'm sorry. But please, don't tell me it's over. Don't tell me I lost the girl again. He looked at me with such raw vulnerability it broke my heart. You didn't lose me, I whispered. I'm right here. He let out a shuddering breath. He pulled me into his arms. He buried his face in my neck, inhaling my scent. I love you, he groaned. I've loved you since I was 16. Since you borrowed a pencil from me in chemistry class. I laughed through my tears. You remember that? I remember everything. He pulled back. He looked at my lips. Can I kiss you? Yes. He kissed me. Under the stars in Central Park, surrounded by the city that never sleeps. It was perfect. Until a flash went off. We broke apart. A paparazzi photographer was standing in the bushes. Mr. Blackwood, is this your new fiancé? What about Chloe? Noah shielded my face. Leave us alone. But the damage was done. By morning, the photo would be everywhere. Billionaire caught cheating on new partner. Chloe would see it, and she would be furious. We have to go, Noah said, pulling me towards his car, before the storm hits. But I knew the storm was already here. Chloe wasn't just a mean girl anymore. She was a woman scorned with $1 billion trust fund and a vendetta. And she wasn't going to let us have a happy ending without a fight. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Noah's penthouse, bathing the room in a deceptively peaceful glow. I stretched under the silk sheets, reaching out for Noah. The bed beside me was empty and cold. I sat up, pushing my tangled hair out of my eyes. Noah. No answer, just the low hum of the air conditioning and the distant wail of a siren from the streets below. I saw my phone on the nightstand. The notification light was blinking frantically. Red, like a warning. I picked it up. 152 missed calls. 300 new messages. Instagram 99 plus notifications. My stomach dropped. I unlocked the screen. The first headline hit me like a physical slap. TMZ exclusive billionaire betrayal. Noah Blackwood caught cheating on fiancée Chloe Vanderbilt with high school flame. Below it was a photo, grainy, taken from the bushes but unmistakable. Noah and I kissing in Central Park. His hands were in my hair. My arms were around his neck. It looked passionate. It looked illicit. I scrolled down. Page 6. The other woman revealed broke bookstore clerk steals tech mogul. The comments were a cesspool. Who is this? Nobody. She looks cheap. Team Chloe. Poor girl, she just announced the engagement. Gold digger alert. Look at her dress. That's probably a rental. I felt bile rise in my throat. You saw it. I looked up. Noah was standing in the doorway. He was fully dressed in a suit, but he looked disheveled. His tie was loose, his eyes bloodshot. He held a tablet in his hand. How? I whispered. We were alone in the park. We're never alone, Ava, he said grimly. Not in this city. But this wasn't just a paparazzi getting lucky. This was a hit. He walked over and sat on the edge of the bed. He didn't touch me. Chloe leaked it, he said. The timestamps on the photos matched the moment we left the gala. She had someone following us. But the engagement, I pointed to the article. It says you're engaged to her. It says you gave her a ring. I didn't, Noah said, his voice hard. But perception is reality in my world. And right now the world thinks I'm a scumbag who cheated on America's sweetheart with me, I finished. With the nobody. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. It's the chairman of the board, again. He stood up, pacing the room. The stock is in free fall, Ava. Investors are pulling out. The Vanderbilt merger. Arthur Vanderbilt is threatening to sue for breach of contract and emotional distress. Emotional distress, I scoffed. His daughter is the one lying. It doesn't matter, Noah shouted, then flinched. I'm sorry, I'm losing everything. The foundation, the tech, everything I built. I looked at him. The boy who had been bullied in high school was back, terrified of losing control. I have to go to the office, he said, grabbing his briefcase. Damage control, you stay here. Don't leave the penthouse. Security is downstairs. I can't hide, I said, throwing off the covers. I have a job. Mrs. Gable needs me at the bookstore. Ava, don't be stupid. There are reporters outside. I am not stupid, I snapped, pulling on my dress from last night. It felt heavy now, like a costume I didn't know how to wear. And I am not your prisoner. I'm going to work. Take the driver, he ordered. And wear sunglasses. He walked out without kissing me goodbye. The bookstore was under siege. When the black SUV pulled up to the curb in Brooklyn, I saw them. A swarm of photographers, reporters with microphones, and curious onlookers. They were pressed against the glass of the tiny shop like zombies. Mrs. Gable was standing in the doorway wielding a broom like a weapon. Back off, she yelled. This is a place of literature, not vultures. Mrs. Gable, I cried, pushing through the crowd. Flashes blinded me. Ava, Ava, did you know he was engaged? Is it true you did it for the money? How much is he paying you? I ducked into the shop and locked the door, leaning against it, gasping for air. I'm so sorry, I told Mrs. Gable. I'll quit. I won't bring this to your door. Nonsense, she huffed, adjusting her spectacles. Free publicity. We've sold more books in the last hour than in the last month. People come to gawk, they stay to buy. Now grab a duster. I dusted, but every time I moved near the window, the cameras clicked. I felt like an animal in a zoo. At noon, the bell chimed. I looked up, expecting a customer. It was Chloe. She wasn't alone. A camera crew followed her in professional lights, boom mics. Cut, she ordered the cameraman. Let's do the entrance again. I want to look more sympathetic. She walked out and walked back in. She was wearing a modest pastel dress, looking like a saint. Ava, she cried, rushing towards me with open arms. Oh, you poor thing. I stepped back, gripping my duster. What are you doing here, Chloe? I came to clear the air, she said, turning to the camera. We're live on Instagram, by the way. Hi, everyone. Please send hearts for Ava. She's going through a lot. She looked at me, her eyes glistening with fake tears. I know it's not your fault, she said loudly. Noah can be so persuasive. He used his money to dazzle you, didn't he? Just like he tried to dazzle me. He didn't dazzle me, I said through gritted teeth. And he's not engaged to you. Oh, honey, Chloe sighed, pulling a hand from her pocket. On her finger sat a massive canary yellow diamond ring. It glittered under the shop lights. He gave me this last week, she lied smoothly. In Paris, he said he wanted to merge our souls, not just our companies. The comments on the live stream screen, which her assistant was holding up, flew by in a blur of hate. Liar, homewrecker. Chloe is a saint for forgiving her. I felt dizzy. That's a lie. He was in New York last week. Was he? She challenged. Or was he just telling you that? She leaned in close, lowering her voice so the mic wouldn't catch it. The mask dropped. Her eyes were cold, hard shards of ice. He's never going to marry you, Ava, she whispered. He needs my father's capital. He needs the Vanderbilt name. You're just a nostalgic fling, a scratch he needed to itch from high school. She smiled. And now that he's had you, he's going to discard you, just like everyone else. Get out, I said. Fine, but remember, I'm the one with the ring, and I'm the one who holds the keys to his company. She turned to the camera. Please, everyone, respect Ava's privacy. She made a mistake. We all do. She swept out of the store, her entourage trailing behind her like a royal procession. I stood there trembling. She had won. She had painted the narrative so perfectly that even I was starting to doubt the truth. My phone buzzed, a text from Noah. Meeting with the board went bad. Arthur is demanding my resignation. Come to the penthouse tonight, we need to talk. The penthouse was dark when I arrived. Noah was sitting on the floor by the window, staring out at the city. A bottle of whiskey sat next to him half empty. Did you see the stream? I asked softly. The whole world saw it, he rasped. My stock dropped 15%. The board called an emergency vote for tomorrow morning. They want to oust me. Because of me? No, he said, turning his head. He looked wrecked. Because of me. Because I was arrogant enough to think I could have it all. He stood up, swaying slightly. Arthur Vanderbilt gave me an ultimatum, he said. Marry Chloe, publicly apologize, merge the companies, or lose everything. I felt my heart break. And I told him to go to hell, Noah said. Noah? But he has leverage, Noah continued, pacing. The foundation. If I leave, the funding gets pulled. The art programs, the scholarships for kids like you they all disappear. He looked at me. I built that for you, Ava. Even when I hated you, I built it for you. I know, I whispered. If I choose you, he said, his voice breaking, I lose my life's work. I become the loser you thought I was in high school. You were never a loser, I said, walking to him. I put my hands on his face. You were brilliant and kind, and the only reason I laughed at you was because I was scared. I was scared of how much I liked you and how different we were. He leaned into my touch. I can't lose the company, Ava. Then don't, I said. I stepped back. I took a deep breath. Marry her. Noah froze. What? Marry Chloe, I said, forcing the words past the lump in my throat. Save the company. Save the foundation. Be the king. And us. There is no us, I lied. It was just a fling, Noah. A revenge plot that got out of hand. Don't lie to me, he growled, grabbing my arms. Not now. I'm not lying, I shouted, tears spilling over. Look at us. We're toxic. I bring you nothing but scandal and ruin. Go back to your world, Noah. Leave me in mine. I pulled away from him. I ran to the door. Ava, stop! I didn't stop. I ran out of the penthouse, down the hall, and into the elevator. I cried the whole way down. I had done the right thing. I had saved him. But as I walked out into the cold night alone, I realized that saving the hero meant killing the heroine. I didn't sleep. I spent the night packing. My tiny apartment was filled with boxes. I was leaving New York. I couldn't stay here seeing Noah's face on every billboard, knowing he was marrying Chloe to save his empire. I would go to Ohio. My aunt lived there. It was quiet. It was far away. At 9 a.m., I turned on the TV. Just to see it. Just to torture myself one last time. The news was broadcasting live from the Blackwood Gallery, the press conference. The business world is holding its breath, the anchor said. Rumors are swirling that Noah Blackwood will announce his engagement to Chloe Vanderbilt and a historic merger with Vanderbilt Industries. The camera cut to the stage. Chloe was already there. She was wearing white, a subtle hint at a wedding dress. She stood next to her father, Arthur, who looked like a cat that had eaten the canary. They were beaming. Then Noah walked out. He looked calm, terrifyingly calm. He wore a black suit, crisp and sharp. He didn't look like a man defeated. He looked like a man who had just decided to burn the world down. He walked to the podium. He didn't look at Chloe. He looked straight into the camera lens, straight at me. Good morning, he said. His voice was steady. There have been a lot of stories about me lately. About my company. About my heart. He paused. The room was silent. My investors, he continued, glancing at Arthur Vanderbilt, have given me an ultimatum: secure the future of this company through a strategic marriage or resign. Chloe stepped forward, expecting him to take her hand. She smiled for the cameras. I have made my decision, Noah said. He reached into his pocket. I held my breath. Was he going to pull out a ring for her? He pulled out a piece of paper. This, he said, holding it up, is a contract. The merger, Arthur shouted from the side, clapping. No, Noah corrected him, his voice ice cold. This is a bill of sale. Confusion rippled through the crowd. Chloe's smile faltered. As of 800 a.m. this morning, Noah announced, I have sold Blackwood Tech. Gasps, shouts. Sold it, Arthur roared. To whom? To the United States government, Noah said. Specifically the Defense Department. My AI algorithm is now classified technology. The sale price was $10 billion. $10 billion. The number hung in the air. It was an astronomical sum. Which means, Noah continued, turning to Arthur with a shark-like grin, I no longer need your capital, Arthur. I no longer need your investors. And I certainly don't need your permission. He turned to Chloe. She looked like she was going to faint. And as for the engagement, Noah said, his voice dropping to a dangerous register. Let's be clear. I never proposed to you, Chloe. The ring you are wearing is a fake. It's a prop from the movie Midnight in Paris. I know because my subsidiary owns the studio that made it. Flashes went off like lightning. Chloe tried to hide her hand, her face turning a blotchy red. You lied, Noah said, addressing her directly. You lied to the press, you lied to the public, and you tried to destroy the woman I love. He looked back at the camera. Ava Sterling, he said. I know you're watching. I dropped the remote. I fell to my knees in front of the TV. I don't care about the money, Noah said. I don't care about the company. I sold it all. I'm unemployed now, technically. He smiled, the nervous, sweet smile of the boy I knew in high school. So I'm hoping you'll hire me, as your partner, as your husband, because without you, none of this matters. He walked off the stage. He walked right past Chloe, past Arthur, past the screaming reporters. He walked out the door. 20 minutes later, there was a pounding on my door. I scrambled over the boxes to open it. Noah stood there. He was breathless. He had run up the 5 flights of stairs. Did you see it? He asked. You sold your company, I whispered. You sold your life's work. It wasn't my life's work, he said, stepping inside and kicking the door shut. It was just code. Ones and zeros. You are my life's work, Ava. Loving you is the only thing I want to do for the rest of my life. But $10 billion. I donated half of it to the foundation. He shrugged. The rest, well, we can buy a nice house, maybe a bookstore for you to run, or an island, whatever you want. I looked at him. He had given up his crown to be with me. You're crazy. I laughed, tears streaming down my face. Crazy about you, he said. He pulled me into his arms. He kissed me. It wasn't a show for the cameras. It was real. It was home. Don't ever leave me again, he murmured against my lips. I can't survive it a second time. I'm not going anywhere, I promised. Except maybe to Paris. For real this time. Done, he said. Pack your bags. We leave tonight. I looked at the boxes around us. I'm already packed, he laughed. He picked me up and spun me around in the tiny apartment. I love you, Ava Sterling, he said. I love you, Noah Blackwood, I replied. 1 year later. The gallery in Paris was small, tucked away in a cobblestone street in Montmartre. But it was ours, the Sterling Blackwood Gallery. Tonight was the opening exhibition. The theme, Second Chances. I adjusted a painting on the wall. It was a portrait of a boy with glasses and a girl in a prom dress, holding hands under a stormy sky. It's crooked, a voice said behind me. I turned. Noah was there holding 2 glasses of champagne. He looked happier than I had ever seen him. The weight of the world was gone from his shoulders. It's perfect, I said, kissing him. You're perfect, he corrected. The bell chimed. Guests started to arrive. Among them was a familiar face. Liam, my old colleague from New York. Ava, he hugged me. This place is amazing, and I hear congratulations are in order. He pointed to my stomach. It was just a small bump barely visible under my dress. I smiled, resting my hand on it. Yes, a new project. Noah wrapped his arm around me, beaming with pride. The best project yet. So, Liam asked, do you miss it? The billions, the power. Noah looked at me. He looked at the gallery filled with art and friends. He looked at our future growing inside me. I have everything I ever wanted, Noah said. I finally won the girl. I leaned my head on his shoulder. No, I whispered. We won. Outside, the Eiffel Tower sparkled in the night. We had left the drama, the lies, and the fake rings behind. We had built something real, and this time it was built to last.